Welcome to The Witcher 3, the game where you play as Geralt of Rivia, a man so stoic, so hardened, so emotionally constipated that even Ciri can't get him to open up. A professional monster slayer who spends less time slaying monsters and more time cleaning up everyone else's medieval messes. This isn't a quest for glory, it's an unpaid internship in peasant therapy. They call it one of the greatest RPGs ever made. I call it a side quest simulator disguised as parental trauma. You boot it up expecting high fantasy, destiny, and moral complexity, and 5 minutes later, you're knee-deep in swamp water chasing down a frying pan for a woman who can't be bothered to do it her damn self. Epic destiny? Nah, it's just medieval DoorDash. You start the game with 2 swords because you gotta look cool. One's for humans and one's for monsters. But let's be honest, 90% of your fights are against bandits who thought attacking the Witcher was a sound financial decision. The rest, drowners. The game's answers to, what if swamp water had depression? And then there's the world, a sprawling, opening expanse that's as gorgeous as it is exhausting. It's breathtaking at first, rolling hills, misty swamps, crumbling castles, and then it hits you. Every one of those scenic dots on the map is another sad villager waiting to trauma dump on you. The game says go anywhere, but what it really means is get distracted everywhere. You'll set off to find your adopted daughter and end up solving a rural love triangle involving a cow, a werewolf, and a broken lute. Every region is packed with beauty, history, and absolutely no sense of personal boundaries. You can't walk 10 feet without someone begging for help. It's like being famous in a town of desperate exes. Witcher, my son's gone missing. Witcher, my well's haunted. Witcher, my goat won't come home. You'd think a man who fought wraiths, griffins, and cosmic horrors would draw the line at goat retrieval, but no, he whistles and he goes. And the map, the map. A glowing sea of icons, points of interest, places of power, guarded treasures, smugglers' caches. It's like Ubisoft had a baby with a Slavic folklore museum. Every marker whispers, click me, coward. And you do, because deep down, you're afraid one of them might actually matter. Spoiler, they don't. You're just hoarding slightly better trousers. But here's the real trick. The Witcher 3 doesn't just give you side quests. It gives you fully written, voice-acted, emotionally manipulated subplots. Those that make you forget what you were doing. You'll go from rescue Ciri to attend a wedding between 2 possessed pigs without even blinking. The writers weaponized empathy. You can't skip them. Every optional quest feels like it'll unlock the cure for sadness, and half of them end with you sobbing over a ghost baby named Botchling. This isn't a game. It's therapy disguised as monster hunting. Even the monsters have feelings. You don't just kill them, you sit through their tragic backstory first. This wraith only murders travelers because she died alone in a field of tulips. Great, now I feel bad about decapitating her. Every beast is basically a metaphor for grief, addiction, or unrequited love. It's like Dr. Phil hosted Supernatural. And the peasants? Gods help the peasants. Every conversation sounds like it's taking place inside of a sack of wet potatoes. Oi, Witcher, me wife's gone, and got her by the drowner, she asks. Yes, my good man, but have you considered not living within arm's reach of a cursed frickin' bog? Every town looks like it was built by someone who gave up halfway through the tutorial, and yet somehow every one of them has a blacksmith who's like, sorry, I can't make your sword stronger until you bring me an ancient rune from another continent. Because obviously, no one in Velen can forge a decent blade without raiding. Still, you can't deny the immersion. The weather shifts, the wind howls, the grass bends, and somewhere, Geralt mutters a single word. Wind's howling. Every single time. It's his version of small talk. Rain, sleet, thunderstorm. Doesn't matter. Wind's howling. Thanks, Geralt. Didn't notice. Maybe next time give me a quest marker for find this man a frickin' hobby. The world may be huge, but every inch of it exists to remind you that being the Witcher isn't glamorous. You're not a hero. You're an exterminator with a frickin' business card. People call you a mutant freak, then immediately ask you to slay the thing that's eating their chickens. It's the medieval version of, we don't like your kind, but hey, wait a minute, can you fix my Wi-Fi? And somehow, despite all the horror, poverty, and moral rot, it's still gorgeous. You'll ride through a blood-soaked battlefield under a crimson sunset and think, wow, this is art. Then you get knocked off your horse by a level 2 drowner and scream at your monitor like a frickin' lunatic. That's the Witcher 3 experience, awe and frustration in perfect balance. It's a world where beauty hides despair. Every victory feels compromised, and every conversation threatens to turn into a lecture about destiny. But hey, at least there's loot. Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf, the Butcher of Blaviken, the man, the myth, the monotone. He's the only protagonist who can deliver a heartfelt confession, a death threat, and a flirtation, all with the emotional range of a malfunctioning Ciri. This is a man who spent decades hunting monsters, romancing sorceresses, and reshaping kingdoms. Yet every conversation ends with him grunting like a man who just stubbed his toe. Damn. It's like if Batman got stuck in therapy and refused to talk about it. Every dialogue choice you make is a coin toss between be grumpy or be slightly less grumpy. You don't roleplay Geralt. You just pick the flavor of resignation that best fits your mood. The game's idea of player agency is deciding whether you'll say, fine, or let's get this over with. Even when you try to play him as a kind or warm person, it comes across like a hostage video. I care about you. Sure you do, Geralt. That monotone really sells it. But somehow he works, because Geralt isn't a hero. He's the only RPG protagonist who genuinely feels tired. He's seen too much. He's fought everything from vampires to bureaucracy. He doesn't save the world because he wants to. He does it because everyone else keeps screwing the damn thing up. You get the feeling that if Geralt ever truly retired, the entire continent would collapse under the weight of unresolved peasant drama. He's not just a witcher. He's the medieval janitor cleaning up after destiny. And the way people treat him, absolutely perfect. Half the world despises him, the other half wants him to solve their problems. He's equal parts monster slayer and emotional support mutant. Every conversation starts with, "You're a freak, Witcher," and ends with, "Anyway, can you risk your life for 5 coins and a loaf of stale bread by chance?" The man deserves a union, not a horse. Speaking of which, let's talk about combat. Ah yes, the thing you'll spend 40% of your time pretending to enjoy. It looks slick in trailers, fluid dodges, cinematic swordplay, magical flourishes. But in practice, you're just doing a spinning class for sociopaths. Roll, swing, roll, swing. Drink a potion, roll again. You can map every fight into a metronome. And that fancy Witcher training, it boils down to spam light attacks until something bleeds. You've got your signs, little flashes of magic meant to give you options. Ard for pushing, Igni for fire, Quan for pretending you're good at dodging. And then there's Oxy, the Jedi mind trick that turns every dialogue into a therapy session. It's great in concept, but in combat, most people just spam Igni like they're cosplaying a medieval flamethrower. Because who needs strategy when everything's flammable? Let's be honest, you don't fight monsters in The Witcher 3. You dance around them until arthritis sets in. Wolves, wraiths, wyverns, all of them go down eventually. Not because you're skilled, but because you had the patience to dodge and roll around a tree for 5 minutes. Every boss fight feels less like an epic duel and more like a cardio test. If Geralt's knees made noise, this game would be rated M for meniscus. But credit where it's due, the combat at least feels like combat. You'll die not because of unfair design, but because you got cocky, or forgot to save, or walked into a swamp at level 5 thinking, I got this. Guess what? You don't. You never do. The true horror of The Witcher 3 isn't the wild hunt. It's realizing you haven't meditated in 3 hours and your sword's duller than Geralt's personality. Speaking of which, that brings us to Alchemy, or as I like to call it, Witcher juicing. You spend half the game scavenging flowers like medieval herbalists with ADHD. Every plant has a name that sounds like it came from a fantasy improv night. Blowball, buckthorn. Is this a potion ingredient or a rejected Harry Potter spell? You'll spend more time mixing oils than fighting anything they're meant to kill. Of course, the system itself is brilliant, in theory. You collect rare ingredients, brew potions, apply oils for monster weaknesses. In practice, you'll forget 90% of it even damn exists. Nobody's out here oiling their sword mid-fight like a Michelin chef. You're too busy rolling in defenses. You know what wins most battles? Quinn, Igni, and spamming fast attack like a caffeinated blender. Then there's toxicity, the mechanic that turns potion use into a drinking contest. Every time you chug one, Geralt starts glowing green like he's powered by Mountain Dew. The man's bloodstream is basically a Home Depot cleaning aisle. He doesn't even flinch anymore. He's just casually washing down acid with vodka. And when you unlock White Rafford's deconcoction, congratulations. You're officially immortal, as long as you don't mind being visibly radioactive, that is. Let's not forget bombs either. The Witcher's favorite way to turn stealth into collateral damage. Need to burn a nest? Blow up half the damn forest. Need to distract a vampire? Flashbang an orphanage by accident. The only thing deadlier than Geralt's sword is his lack of aim. The best part, you can pause mid-battle, open your potion menu, and completely re-outfit your entire loadout while a griffin politely waits for you to finish crafting. You're not a warrior, you're a man with a clipboard doing live inventory. Nothing kills immersion faster than Geralt rolling backward from a wyvern and whispering, "Hang on, gotta make some bombs." Still, somehow, all these broken systems come together. Combat isn't fun, but it's yours. It's clunky, awkward, and weirdly satisfying, kinda like Geralt himself. You don't play for the precision, you play it for the chaos. That feeling of barely surviving, covered in potion fumes and monster guts, whispering, "Never again," before immediately running into the next cursed cave. Because at the end of the day, The Witcher 3 isn't about mastering combat or perfecting alchemy. It's about embracing the exhaustion, realizing that every battle, every potion, every sigh is just part of being Geralt. The world never stops demanding, and he never stops answering, begrudgingly, gruntingly, heroically. Side quests. They're the true endgame. The main story pretends to be about finding Ciri, but let's be honest, she could have been abducted by aliens and you'd still be waist deep in swamp errands. Every NPC in Velen has a problem only you can fix. There's no task too small for the legendary White Wolf. Haunted outhouses, missing chickens, cursed spoons, all part of the daily grind. It's like DoorDash, but every delivery ends in existential crisis. And they're good, right? That's the trick. CD Projekt Red lured you into quality writing. These aren't fetch quests. They're miniature tragedies wrapped in fetch quests. You set out to kill a werewolf and end up mediating its breakup. You go to find a missing child and uncover a pagan cult. Every quest starts simple and ends with moral whiplash. You try to help one person, 3 others die. You walk away wondering if Geralt should just stop talking to people entirely. Even the contracts, the bread and butter of a Witcher, they aren't straightforward. You show up to kill a griffin and it turns into a documentary about environmental collapse. This beast only attacks because man has disturbed its nesting grounds. Oh great, now I'm complicit in deforestation. Can't wait to kill something I empathize with. Then there's the choice system, where every decision is morally gray, but the consequences are always emotionally devastating. You want to do the right thing, but this world hates you for trying. Save the orphans? They get eaten by tree spirits. Let the witch live? She kidnaps a priest. Spare the bandit? He kills your horse 3 towns over. There's no karma meter, just trauma. You don't play The Witcher 3. You slowly develop Catholic guilt in HD. And while all that chaos unfolds, the main story just quietly waits in the corner whispering, "Hey, remember Ciri? Yeah, vaguely. Between the drinking contests, ghost weddings, and Gwent tournaments, I forgot I was a dad." You'll go 15 hours without ever mentioning her. She's out there somewhere, sprinting through time portals while you're busy getting drunk with dwarves and helping an innkeeper write Yelp reviews. But when the story does kick in, it's actually very beautiful. That's what makes it worse. You get pulled into Geralt's desperate search for Ciri, this father-daughter bond forged in fire and prophecy. And every time you think you're close to finding her, someone goes, "Ah yes, Ciri. She was here, 2 weeks ago." Fantastic. My emotional anchor is now a breadcrumb trail of disappointment. The plot weaves between kingdoms and conspiracies. but every major beat is interrupted by 10 errands. You must find Ciri before it's too late, but first, let's attend a masquerade ball. It's like trying to rescue your kid during a Renaissance fair. The pace swings between urgent and, but first, let's play Gwent. Like the game can't decide if it's Taken or Animal Crossing. And yet, that mix works, because under all the sarcasm, there's a beating heart. Geralt isn't just a monster slayer. He's a man trying to protect the only person who ever gave his life meaning. It's oddly moving, buried beneath all the drowners and debt collectors. You'll be laughing one minute, then crying the next, then looting a peasant's cupboard right after. Because emotions don't pay for sword repairs. Still, nothing distracts from the romance subplot. A storyline so chaotic, it deserves its own DLC. The Witcher 3 Tender Edition. You've got Yennefer, the walking embodiment of weaponized sarcasm. She's elegant, brilliant, and absolutely done with your nonsense. Every interaction feels like being graded by your ex, who's now your boss. You don't romance Yennefer, you survive her. Then there's Triss, the human comfort blanket. She's soft and kind, and perpetually manipulating you for your own good. It's like dating a red-headed life coach who occasionally sets you on fire. Her idea of love is lying to you, but nicely. And let's not forget, canonically, she took advantage of an amnesiac Geralt. Yeah, that whole, we fell in love when you couldn't remember your ex thing. Bold move, Triss. Geralt's trauma called, it wants visitation rights. The game gives you a choice, Yennefer or Triss, but CD Projekt Red, the true sadist, also give you the option to romance both. And if you do, you get the world's most humiliating cutscene. The two of them lure Geralt into a threesome, then chain him to a bed and leave him there like a medieval cautionary tale. It's not even subtle. The game straight up says, this is what happens when you think with your other sword. And yet, the romances are written with such care that you actually feel it when things go wrong. Yennefer's sharp, broken affection, Triss's desperate loyalty. It's messy, adult, and painfully human, which makes it the perfect contrast to the rest of the world's chaos. Love in The Witcher 3 isn't pure, it's practical, it's flawed. It's whatever keeps you going between drowners. Of course, that doesn't stop Geralt from indulging in the occasional side romance, because apparently, if it has a pulse and a tragic backstory, it's eligible. You've got barmaids, succubi, sorceresses, shapeshifters. It's a full buffet of bad decisions, and every time, Geralt delivers the same performance. Gruff charm, awkward eye contact, emotional repression. He's not a ladies' man, but he is available. By the time you've juggled all the love interests, you realize something profound. Geralt may be the monster slayer, but you're the real villain. You led 2 women on, abandoned a dozen others, and still have the audacity to act surprised when your relationships implode. And the worst part? You'll do it again. Because every dialogue option sounds reasonable until the consequences arrive 6 quests later and ruin your life. Still, somehow, through all the lust, betrayal, and accidental heartbreak, The Witcher 3 manages to sell you on the illusion of intimacy. For all his grunts and shrugs, Geralt feels real. He's not chasing love for the sake of it. He's clinging to any piece of warmth this world will give him, even if it's fleeting, even if it ends in handcuffs. But no discussion of The Witcher 3 would be complete without addressing the real monster. Roach. The horse. The legend. The glitch that became self-aware. Roach is more than a mount. He's a cosmic prank disguised as livestock. You summon him, he appears instantly, usually in the worst possible place. On a roof, in a river, mid-conversation. I've seen demons with better spatial awareness. The game treats him like a loyal companion, but let's be honest, he's an emotional support bug. Sometimes he follows you, sometimes he vanishes into another dimension. One moment he's galloping majestically through the wind, the next he's standing on top of a barn, staring at the horizon like he's questioning his own existence. You could write a thesis on the psychology of this horse. And the controls? Oh, sweet dear God, the controls. You try to ride casually down a road, and Roach handles like a shopping cart on black ice. He'll randomly stop, drift into fences, or decide that a gentle incline is an insurmountable wall. Bandits show up? Good luck dismounting before they stab you to death. He's either too close or too far away. like a bad ex with attachment issues. Then there's the Roach on roofs phenomenon, which CD Projekt Red eventually made canon. The developers literally embraced the meme because they knew no patch would ever fix him. Roach transcended programming. He became part of the lore. And yet, for all his chaos, you love him, because Roach, in his broken, bugged glory, is the perfect reflection of The Witcher 3 itself. Beautiful, ambitious, and constantly on the verge of falling apart. You can't stay mad at him. You just whistle. He clips through a house, and you ride off into another disaster. By the time you've spent 100 hours across Velen, Novigrad, and Skellig, something strange happens. You stop caring about the jank. You stop noticing the bugs. You start seeing them as part of the charm. The floating cows, the T-posing peasants, the NPCs who call you mutant, then ask for help fixing their roof. It all became part of the symphony, a broken, glorious masterpiece where every mistake feels intentional. Because beneath the glitches and the goat quest, there's something magical about this world. It's alive, flawed, messy, human. And maybe that's why it works. Because The Witcher 3 doesn't ask you to be perfect. It just asks you to keep trying. To keep rolling, keep fighting, keep helping, even when everything around you is falling apart. You're not here to win, you're here to endure. But wait, there's something we haven't touched on yet. The Wild Hunt. The spectral horsemen from beyond time, the bringers of doom, the terrifying otherworldly threat that's supposed to make you tremble. They show up like, boo, then vanish for 30 hours while you help peasants unclog their wells. These guys are marketed as the end of days, an unstoppable force of frost and death. But they spend 90% of the game showing up late, like interns who miss their bus for the apocalypse. Their grand plan? Chase Ciri across the world. That's it. These cosmic murder ghosts could have shattered reality, but instead, they're basic cosmic helicopter parents. They're all like, we must have the girl. Bro, take a number. So does every cult, sorceress, and failed monarch in the game. You're not special, you're just loud and poorly lit. Every encounter with them is the same. Ominous music, blue glow. Someone says, the Wild Hunt is near, and you brace for horror, only for it to turn into another glorified frickin' fetch quest. They appear, threaten someone, freeze a barn, and then peace out. It's like being haunted by the Blue Man Group. They're terrifying in theory, but in execution, they're just expensive weather effects. And when you finally fight them, you realize they're basically just elves with frostbite. You build up this mythic fear for 50 hours, and then it's just guys in armor who grunt louder than Geralt. The supposed king of the hunt has all the charisma of a snow shovel. You beat him in a duel, the world doesn't end, and everyone just kinda shrugs. After all that buildup, it feels less like defeating evil incarnate and more like winning a mid-tier fencing tournament. But that's The Witcher 3 in a nutshell. Every grand destiny undercut by absurdity. You spend the game preparing for Ragnarok and end up mediating arguments about sheep. And somewhere that contrast works. Because life, even in fantasy, is never just one tone. It's epic, tragic, and ridiculous, all at once. You're the chosen one and the errand boy, the savior and the scapegoat, the man who kills gods, but still can't afford rent. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the roast of The Witcher 3. I appreciate you watching and listening. I'm done talking now. I'm gonna go have a drink. If you would like me to cover the DLCs, drop a comment down below and we'll roast those too.